version of the preview right after I've done these two in German language separately. And although you English speak may not be able to fully read or understand every line here, it is a preview, believe me. Now, what I've done here is at least let's start with a record that we produced up to now. And so everyone who followed my videos right from the start this season, which I've done actually by some coincidence, I didn't think about really posting my bets via YouTube, via videos or something like that, but I started and let's see what is going to happen about it. So the record up to now is we produced winnings of 19.5 units if you bet every single one flat, just 1 unit per bet. Then it's 19.5 units, whatever a unit is in your budget. That's 9.33%. Just to make sure you understand, that's the max hits that market conceded, or that I was allowed to have, more or less. So this is break-even point, simple as that. So starting from 109 hits, we would enter the winning zone. If I expect 117.5, that is how big a margin I would gladly, very happily like to have. This is based on my calculations. Whenever I post a bet here, I usually have an edge in the probabilities and so on. And so even if those 117.5 would be a dream, so I can't promise ever to achieve that, or I will not in the long run, actually. And okay, I may improve myself too, but I could never beat this, especially not if I know what the max hits is, what the break-even point is. So if I get more than that, or we did, then this is luck. So we were lucky. At least if you are able to measure your luck, you should not, you should know what is going to happen. I mean, you don't have to return luck from now on. It may happen and will maybe happen, but it may happen, that's all. But you're not obliged to give it back right away or something like that. But you should not build on these figures. This is not what you ought to trust, really. We were lucky. So that's it. For at least 1.25 units. That's the least. Because I would not be, the probability for every single bet that I post here could either be the value I hope it is, or it could be between this or that, and actually between this and the 50% the market would in general give to me. Because Asian handicap is designed to balance the chances. So whatever the line they make it to get an even game. So in general, we should have 50%, and we would lose because we lose to the market margin, that the market pays just 192, 193, whatever it is, if there is an even chance. Anyway, from 209, so long we did survive for this year, but you should notice we had been lucky. If you see my account here, that's, you're allowed to donate at any point if you like what you see here, or if you can make use of the bets, the proposals I have here, or if you simply improved yourself, or you think, well, that has been useful. It is, it's neither part is obliged to do anything, and I'm of course not obliged to give you those best bets here. But you are not obliged to ever pay anything. I wouldn't do that myself, most likely. I mean, if there's someone that really okay, if he's really good and I'm improving. But you're very welcome, of course. And of course, if you intend to keep things going, I mean, any way to motivate me would be welcome, and my could possibly be what you would wish for. Anyway, I separated it, League 1 and 2, and actually they are almost the same, represented the same, the record is almost the same. So, I mean, it's a little extra here for Bundesliga 2, it's one bet extra for Bundesliga 1 and so on. There's one false value, I still didn't correct it, which I should have done, but that should be around that same value here. That's the average probability that we had, and that is more than 50%. It's more than 52.2. It's a bit too much. As this is the maximum I could hope for, this value is just a wrong entry here into my table. But sorry for that. But in general, you should, well, just to make understand that market makes it 50%. What you try to do, monkey, just you know, randomly ticking anywhere. He would be 50%, right? This is the least you could get, right? I mean, in the long run, of course, for 1 week you could even manage to get 0%. You make 20 ticks somewhere randomly and you miss them all. It's pretty unlikely, but it may happen. But in the long run, this would be 50% you achieve. And we try to beat these 52.2. So that's all we need, right? We have even matches and we try to get a little more than 50% right. If we are, you know, we're free to select, right? This one, we do not take any side. Here we take this side, here we take this side. Goal lines and sides. And just the probability needs to be a bit over 50%, whereby 56 is already quite a bit, 52.2 is a little bit, but something between that, 53, 54, all of them would be welcome because you're not going to lose. So why would you worry? But you need to have this kind of selection, this kind of indication that you find some better selections there. Okay, here are all the matches, and if I give you this once again, offensive and conversion rate, offensive 2, that's all the offensive power from Bochum, so to say, compared to the defensive power from Osnabrück, compared here, put into one value, and this is the conversion Bochum offensively and Osnabrück, so to say, defensively. And that's how well they would convert that. And this is the goal expectancies that come out. Still not turned into true prices here. And still neither for the over-under, whereby the over 2.5 I was just briefly giving here and showing you here, because usually it used to be a league, also in the whole league, but also in the traditional European market, they all had 2.5 goals, right? And you could still vary the prices. They didn't even know it was 2.5. They had 3 goals or more, or 3 goals or less. 2.5 is an Asian line, so to say. But the Asian market you should be used to, or you should, well, understand it at least. That's what the new system compiles here. Here's some of the input. It's of course, it's a much bigger basis of input data coming in, leading to these values. But if you see what's coming out here, it does look pretty decent. If you see an average of 3.02, that's coming out for all the games here, you can compare it to the current league average, which we actually may see in a second. And here you see already the small difference, because the old system, that's old, alt, that's for old, says 2.94 and the new one says 3.02. So you see a small difference, and this old system is more based on results, the other one is more based on statistics. So I have these two concurring with each other, but also helping each other. I'm trying to, of course, to use whatever I get to improve my predictions. So all you need to confess here, or what you would need this for, of course you can take it down, you can pause the video, write those figures down, try to work them out yourself, make use of them, whatever you wish to. but in general, it should just show you I'm using a pretty professional approach, and which may make the bets that you see in a second a bit better, appear a bit better, as compared to what I saw on the web so far. It's just, well, I think they are going to win. I think they are going to win. I think this is, well, they are not going to lose. And this is an over, this is an under. So what is it based upon? Here you see what my bets are based on figures. And those figures are worked out pretty well and pretty decently and pretty reliable. I showed in a German version, which I may repeat in an English one as well, that how I can improve all those figures. There are statistical methods, just quite a couple of them, to show how you validate your figures, right? And of course, the easiest one is, well, show me your wallet, right? Any money in there? Mine is empty. Well, I mean, okay, here's my wallet. Just a few euro. I saw those those money opening when they open the envelopes and all those money is coming out and people enjoy it. I can't show you this, but anyway, I wouldn't because this is just I don't know how you call it, but this is like no, I can't, no comparison, sorry, but counting money, of course, is the most reliable way of verifying your figures. But as I'm doing a lot more than just those bets, but instead, so to say, I'm predicting every match. I have some stats that I'm getting in, or the result getting in, and so on, and all those. Well, you need or the basis is more solid if you have all the games in there and all the stats, and not just the couple you bet on. Whereby I can't predict which one I'm gonna bet on, so I'm gonna compile them, all of them anyway. At least you see here pretty professional approach, I would say. And here you see old system, new system, and if there's a difference, of course, I make sure that in case there is an indication, both systems agree on it, and this you see in a second too. Here's not the real table, which I may improve next time. It's just the order and the ordered by points and goal difference, which you don't see here, so you can pretty well forget it as well. Any such table is always intended, or well, if I look at it, it's just to check out which could be a site that's overrated here, or market may overrate as a consequence, which are doing well but not getting the results, and so on. So what we are looking for is finding indications what we would like to bet on. Here's a much more reliable way of doing so. And because if I have the points expected here, this was more or less, well, it's a basic evaluation of all the teams. And after it, with all the results and stats coming in, I'm updating those figures. But this is a pretty slow process. So I'm not just saying if a team play well, they are really good, so bring them up here, and if they play badly, they go down. But if it's a slow process, still it's some process. So if Bielefeld play consistently well, their expectancy goes up for the matches to follow, right? But still they played even better, which means this value will still rise, or it will try to come closer to this. Although there is a possibility that they start to play worse, which my slow adjustment is based upon, that I say, well, don't overreact. I mean, there will be better days and there will be worse days, and so on. Anyway, this is a bit more what we can look at, and here's the indication more or less, which usually means bet on the sides that are low in the table and go against the ones that are high in the table. If you have an indication on Stuttgart already, it means they played pretty well, they didn't get the full reward. And although it doesn't work out here, because they play against Karlsruhe, and we even have to go with Karlsruhe. It's a pretty sensitive problem, right? What does markets think about a team? How did they play? What was the last result? What are, you know, it's there are plenty of things possibly affecting those prices, and so it's hard to really say, right? So if you look at our, for example, then you would say, oh, brilliant, I go against our. That's as simple as can be. But market knows about these things, so they would never say our are fifth place. They belong down here, and then no one changes mind. If we still find a way, maybe we do. But so still people know about that, right? Market, bookmakers, all the bulk intelligence, what it's called, right? Anyway, we got one more table which tells you here, and we try to check out all those things and make them work together. Here we got the actually stored ranking. Here you can see what those goal expectancies, where they are going, right? That's last season had been only 2.76. Now there had been a major rise, which I can't really explain, but if it happens, I'm fine with it. And with a recent rise, you see here that the expected goal average went even up a bit, and above even the real one. But it still is a matter of, you know, one match day or two match days. If it goes lower, then man, I can't explain all those figures. Here's the ranking. This is the sorting order, and if you have VN on 0.78, that's pretty decent. Although they are the worst, it doesn't mean a lot. So if they win one game, if they won two games or played well in two, even more, they would easily go up here. And this is more or less one level, starting from Nuremberg or so, right? Even Karlsruhe. They are all more or less the same, right? This is the basis for my calculation. This is the current ranking that produce my figures. Although this is just for the new system. This is home ranking. We just need to watch out here, right? We would like to support these sides if they play at home. The top sides, we go against them if they play away from home. We support these on the road. We play against them when they play at home, and so on. So it's just another indicator, but at least this one we can be sure market is not really in harmony with. This is the very, very touchy one. So we will find indications. We have to make sure we accept them, but we got a basis for that, right? We got this basis here that they played better at home or on the road. It's not just results. This one is based on efforts. Here I got a sorting order which tells you how many points they did deserve. And still Stuttgart deserved most, so they played the best football. Hamburg in second place is fine. Here you see a place difference because they are only third in table, second in table, that's 0 here. First in table, that's 2 places too high, and so on. Sandhausen in fourth place, no one would have expected them up here, but they are, according to my figures. Kiel are also pretty well placed, but market always respected them. Heidenheim, I thought, were doing pretty well. They did, but well, okay, now there's already a difference up here, but not too much of a difference. Nuremberg, Karlsruhe, you can check them out. Aue in last place, bottom place, and Regensburg. Those had been the neighbors, pretty high in the table, but pretty low here. That's 10 and 13 difference, so they are way too high in the table. But still doesn't mean necessarily we can go against them. It's just another indication here. Here's a sorting order, how much they played better than I expected. And this is the sorting order. So Kiel are the number 1 here. I underrated them, possibly. I underrated Stuttgart, maybe, although they got pretty much what I thought they would get, and so on. But anyway, you can make up your mind and think about it. It may be bad evaluations, but you can also say any. It won't be ever 0-0 here. All of them 0. That's impossible. But there will be some divergence, some differences for sure. And also, I mean, 3 is not that massive, so you can say, well, it can happen, right? This is not yet a real massive error, but Kiel was a surprise to me in every other game, because I always thought they can't perform as they did last season, but actually they did. So what can I do? I mean, this was visible here. For Stuttgart, you could also say, well, I underrated them slightly, but they just played well, although they didn't get the points. So it's a pretty touchy affair here as well. So now, at long last, we do see those bets here. That's Sandhausen plus 0.75. They are just playing well, and although Bielefeld also played well, Sandhausen are the one, the dark horse, or whatever you may call it. No one would say they are so good. Everyone saw Bielefeld, but who talks about Sandhausen? But they did play well, so you can go with them. You can go even with HSV. We saw that in the home ranking; they were very high, but also they just played well. I mean, I'm not arguing. I mean, they just played well, and I like such bets as you see here. If the new system is below, it means it has even a bigger difference here between the two sides. We could check that back, or you could do it, given some time. And look back what the old system and new system says about it. But usually they are pretty reliable, what I say here. Karlsruhe +1, that's against Stuttgart. It's kind of a derby. Stuttgart are really good, but more than 5 points, but 1 goal still is a bit too much. We take the away side because we have to. It's still also a derby, kind of. It's just 60 kilometers or 66 or something like that between Karlsruhe and Stuttgart. Fürth we have to take, although this is the derby number 1, misprint here in Germany. It's the most traditional one. But why should Fürth suddenly be outsiders at home? I don't know. I mean, even if it's not a home game, they are not the worst side. So what's wrong here? And Heidenheim, but not a special great one, right? Derbies are very hard to beat, or to win, to beat the line, to beat the market, or whatever it is. Now we get Heidenheim, draw no bet. That's also, it doesn't look so trustful. They play away to Regensburg, but we saw Regensburg were pretty low in this ranking and so on. So we can go with Heidenheim. And they actually improved, although I'm not fully convinced, but they did do okay. Darmstadt, that's just silly, right? They played okay. I mean, they are not great, but Hannover just average, and they sack their coach now, and then they think everything turns to the better. I can't go with this. And plus 0.5 is massive. If you say 1.96, you pay a price on Hannover of 2.04, which is just ridiculous. But if market says so, and maybe it's getting, we will see the proof on Monday, but I could never support that. Now we got the over-under, we got Bochum over, Bielefeld under, and Wien under, verified by the goal performance, if you know what it means. It's in the last 8 games, there have been too few. It's an under like that. Old system doesn't like it, new does like it. I put it here. You could as well skip this one. But Bochum at home had just been massive. Bielefeld under, okay, it is indicated just slightly. Goal performance is going along, although you may not like it especially. Wien Kiel under 3, 1.86. It's indicated the goal performance goes along. So I can hardly argue about these, although I can argue about Bochum, the over, right? Because Osnabrück are on the underside. Here you got all the bets once again in one table, so pause it here, take them down. It's pretty clear here what we are going for this weekend. Although, as I talked about them, you can like them or dislike them. Here we got all the development efforts. Bochum, Osnabrück. Look at the red one. It's not on the same level. The yellow one is the average. So you can't, if you see they are high, they are low, okay, they are much better. It's not the truth. You have to compare it with the yellow one because that's the average, right? Bochum slightly below average. and so on. And they are a lot more. This is the average. This is how well they played. The red one, the blue one is what I expected. So they still played better than expected, although going down. Those are the results, the gray one, right? It's for every graph here, it's the same. They got the results for how well they played, which is not as well as I expected, and so on. So you can check those. For the goal lines we got here, I mean, it's the same thing, but what you would like to see here, either we get the over confirmed or we don't. But the red one is for the efforts. If the over is confirmed and the red one is high, okay, we see it somehow confirmed. If the goals are coming, the gray one, then we say, okay, even better, we like the over. But it has to be confirmed by the other one. They played on the expected level. Red and blue are on the same level. They didn't get the goals, so they are under by results, but not by efforts. So the goals are somehow in the offing. And that's what we go for in this case. Here we got our St. Pauli would like to go against our, because they do not even play their expected level. St. Pauli would be a good side, but that's what I said. Market is aware of that, and it doesn't even indicate it. It would even slightly indicate our, which we simply do not trust then. I mean, I do not want them. Okay, that's it. Although figures would just say okay. But St. Pauli played their level, played average, do not get the result. They get far too good results, and although the efforts are not even on that level, that would be a clear indication. But market has to play its part, and it does it against us. Here we got the goal average. Here it's luckily it's on the same level. You see somehow it would be an over, kind of, because the red one is on top, but it's not indicated. No, it is marginal. I mean, here you can think about the over, but you may not like it. But this one would even be marginally indicated. And obviously it is, because red one on top always means, well, at least they are taking some measures to score or concede goals. But if they are not coming, maybe also for some reason. Here we got Bielefeld Sandhausen. As I said, Sandhausen are just excellent. If you see that one graph here, you say, okay, go, green light. They are playing well, they play better than expected, results are too good, but go with this side. I mean, they are not even worse, or if they are, just by a margin, by a very small margin, I mean, and so plus 0.75, that's massive. Here you can check out as well, red one top, red one bottom, so no way, there's no tendency, right? And market is not getting that one wrong at all, or not. I can't beat that. HSV are doing well, they play well, results are fine, but we have that one more based on the home ranking. Here we got Dresden with a slightly better effort against Wien, but that's all, and usually they are below average. It's not the story. HSV are the best, you can pretty well, no, second best, but they are pretty good, that's all. So if it's indicated, we do not need to. And HSV had been a bit unlucky recently. If you see that one, I mean, it's going up and down, and maybe, they are a bit frustrated, maybe a couple of draws they shouldn't have had, and so on. So that is a little extra for the bet, actually. They play well, results not going so well. Goal development, I have to check that one here. That's a pass. Okay, it would be somehow an under, but if market does not, it's not indicated, I can't do much, right? But also we have the side anyway with -1.5, so it's not a great under anyway if you want these both to come in. But computer is incorruptible here. It's not doing much wrong, so the calculation, if it would be indicated, but it's not, so also for some reason. Here we got Wien, Kiel. Kiel are doing well, Wien not so well, although they started actually quite well. Now they focused on getting results, which they managed for a while. Now they lost the last one. And okay, they are just good, but we haven't got an indication, so what can I do? Goals, we also don't have we have the under. Okay, at least when I see those profiles, they play on their level. This one is going down, so they focused a bit more on results, you could say. This one is also going down, focusing on results. So we're happy, goal performance going along anyway. So what's wrong with the under here? Wien did focus on results. Here we got the Stuttgart, Karlsruhe. Although Stuttgart do play well, I accept that Karlsruhe are not bad and actually recently improving a bit with the red one going up. So what's the problem? I mean, +1, it's just too massive for a side that are really, really solid here. Although you can say Stuttgart now are really angry and they need a huge win or something like that, but I'd rather go with my figures and stick to them. Goal average, okay, that would be an over. What is wrong with the over? It's not indicated, that's all. I mean, what can I do? I can't force market to make any mistakes there. And here we got Fürth, they get the results. They play on average, which is fine. Nuremberg play a bit better than average. Okay, also accepted. Why do they sack their coach if they play so well? Just for the results string here, or what is it called? But that's just silly, because up to match day 9 they were fine, and after 13 he needs to be sacked, right? Also, although there were a couple of draws or at least one, it's just silly stuff. But I wouldn't go with that, so we just take Fürth, who are not much worse if they are, and they are playing at home, and we got a draw no bet plus over 2.0. Goal average, nothing indicated, but I wouldn't recommend that anyway with the derby character very heavily. Regensburg, Heidenheim, here we got Heidenheim, they did improve, they do not quite play their level, they still play better than average. Regensburg just got too much, red one below, so we like this one, that's just above 1, that's close to 1.5, so there's quite a difference. I mean 1.1, 1.45 maybe, but that's enough for to take the away side. Goal development, there's nothing indicated, you can check it out here. They play a bit on over, maybe results are below, they play over, they get the results. No indication, what can I do? It's close to an over actually, but not quite. And here we got Darmstadt pretty heavily, and as you see here, they did improve over the weeks and from the start, and they are almost played on their level, although this is below average, and Hanover have actually not done so much wrong because they are still above average, but second coaches and so on, and those efforts had not been great, but I wouldn't trust that. But we get half a goal, and this is not well, it's not the days for half a goal, right? It's even if they were 2 points gone, we would have to check the home ranking as well. But this one I like. I know about those prices and what we have to pay. Of course, Hanover are hoping for better, but why should they get it by just sacking coach and pick up another one, Kochak, which I actually wouldn't even like so much or consider a very good coach, but that's meaningless, more or less. Goal average here, we've got no indication. You could say they are contradicting over, under. It's pretty, well, it would actually be an over indicated by those graphs, by this graph. Because, well, this is more than, there should have been more goals than there had been coming, and this is a clear over. But why could I argue any longer if market does not indicate it? And now we see that Bundesliga 1. Okay, the same thing here, although even though you may not be able to read that, that record once again. Don't forget to take down my account details. Same story here. I hope we get through this one quicker, and you will be happy. Anyway, the same mistake here with this average probability we did get. It should be 56 point something or even 57. It should be over 57, of course, right? You could also get it by dividing this one by this one, right? 59.5 divided by 104. I mean, I could do it with my pocket calculator. Anyway, this is how we've done so far. We have been lucky, but still maybe there's something behind that. Here we got the once again the same slide here. telling you about the goals, total goals, average 3.2. I think this is exactly the league average at the moment. Schalke slight favorites, for example. Dortmund, of course, heavy favorites over Paderborn and so on. Bayern are favorites, but here that looks ridiculous. But that's based on Düsseldorf playing so well, and actually Bayern. That's even here. The conversion rate tells you that even Düsseldorf would at the moment take their chances better than Bayern, which sounds silly, but this is based on the figures that are coming in, and the computer doesn't care about the names or something like that, right? So it sounds silly, but it does have a data basis. So it's based on those results coming in and on those small adjustments taking place. But this is what happened. If they say now, Hansi Flick, okay, he will try to strengthen defensive or so. But Düsseldorf have actually done pretty well. Here we got the totals, yeah, and so on. Whatever you may come back to that one and look at the figures once again whenever it suits you. But here we got the old system, which is doing somewhere it's very similar, and sometimes there are some differences. You can, of course, focus on those. Of course, in Düsseldorf, Bayern, it's quite a massive difference, which is not, well, okay. They just played well and they didn't play well. That's why the new system did react to that. And we all would always would argue, well, Bayern, that's a bit special, right? Everyone would say instantly, well, there's something special. And especially would you say, when you hear that name, you would say, oh, I'm going to bet them. They are going to win, right? It's some easy money. And yeah, that's what we always have to face. That's also why you get those lines sometimes, right? But now they say new coach and everything is fine again. You got some differences and sometimes, but it's also the same average, which is league average. So why would you say then there's something wrong with my figures, right? There are sometimes you get proofs for that, and sometimes you get some differences which when you also say, okay, I'm happy about that because I'm not God or something like that, right? I do not know that exactly, right? Here we got the table once again, not the full because no goal difference, so rather forget this one. But here we got it a lot better, comparing these and seeing, for example, at Gladbach are just very lucky because they did not even play on the expected level. They shouldn't have even, so there's quite a big difference in that direction, which makes it a very, very heavy counter indication, so to say. You have to go against Gladbach. But market also is somehow aware of that. So this is a table leader which is not really recognized or accepted by a market, which means maybe you can't go against them. They play Union, which are doing pretty well, so you can go with Union this time. Anyway, you can check that. It tells you quite a lot. Dortmund, for example, they didn't play so well. Also Bayern, you can check that. Düsseldorf, they played excellent. They even played better than Gladbach, and so on. You wouldn't need to fully go with these figures or trust them in that sense that the difficult figure in all this whole story, that's a conversion rate, right? So if you see a team having few chances, 18.86 goals are expected, they just produced 17.29, and they convert, and they score 24 from them, and you see those goals, and you say, look at that one, oh, that's brilliant, right? And you see it with every other one, and you can still say, well, I saw them, how they scored the goals, so they are a lot better than you think, or something like that, right? But I'm doing my adjustments slowly because I know it is right in general. So sometimes the balls just fall for you, and not just in the sense that you score the goal, but also the cross coming in, right? It just finds your player, and so on. So, and I will always go with a method. If Gladbach would play 2 seasons like that, stay there until the final whistle, right, of this season. And then another season. Then they would obviously also, not just by myself, but also by market, get that top team bonus somehow, right? Then you would say, okay, they really are a top side. I mean, I can't argue about that. The figures would get there, and also the reputation, everything. But it's not going to happen. I can't promise. I mean, it's not. But usually this just wouldn't happen, right? I mean, not that quickly. Or right, we had Leicester, for example. Leicester a couple of years ago, 2014, 15. When was it? But then Ranieri and next season he was sacked because they invested some money into new players, and he of course couldn't repeat the title, right? What would you? I mean, yeah, they tried to be a top side, but they just simply yeah. It takes some time, right? And sacking Ranieri, and now they are top again, which somehow I like, but not for the Ranieri sacking, which I just I was so disgusted by, that they, why are they doing that, especially in England? I mean, they should know what, yeah, but anyway. There are things happening behind the scenes I do not know about, right? But I dislike that in general. Anyway, here you can find a lot also in the sense of which side you would wish to support, and also be here or there surprised, right? When you say, oh, did they play well? Yeah, Augsburg played better than expected, but this is a very low value. So, I mean, it's just a lot of things inside here, also about the goals, right? I mean, here you can even say, for Augsburg, for example, I expected like this. They should have had this. They did have this. So you can see some kind of confirmation. I expected those against goals, which they almost got, but they defended a bit better, still conceded the goals, and so on. There's plenty of stuff in that. The question is how you would use it, but we are getting the answers for that. Here we got this ranking. They actually stored. Here you see expected goal average. Real goal average is 3.22. Okay, but last season 3.18, so you'd say, well, I'm happy. I mean, it's all around that same area. So what I mean, here you can say we are looking for errors, mistakes, something like that, but where are they? Okay. I mean, for example, you can argue about Leipzig being top or Bayern being top, which one is the best side. It is close, but Bayern's defensive problems, more or less, they had to pay for that in the conversion rate, while Leipzig are doing a pretty good job there. So this is just what's happening to the data if those results and stats come in. I mean, Gladbach are already in 5th place, better than Frankfurt. Here you could also argue, well, why would you say that after you told me what you did tell me? But constantly good results, and also, well, somehow justified efforts, which is largely in the conversion rate, but there are those adjustments taking place, which tell you then, okay, they take their chances well. I see that here. They also defend quite well because they do not allow the goals that the others should score. So maybe Sommer is so good in goal, right, and so on. Or they do not allow those very good chances and so on. But it's all reflected in those figures, but it's not reflected in that rapid speed that maybe others do, but I have my reasons to do so. Here we got that home ranking again. Maybe we get back to that, or you have that in mind when you see Werder at home. We play Schalke. We take Hertha on the road. Köln, we don't want to get involved in Leipzig. But Augsburg, we play against Augsburg. They are both second half here. Schalke on the road, Werder at home. So that fits because we play against them when they are at home. We play on them when they are away from home, right? Union playing at home against Gladbach. We are happy with that. We take the home side, which is plus. Well, in that case, that would not be the indication because Gladbach are minus, but they are not that massively minus, right? You can check those out. But Frankfurt we take at home. Bayern we go against on the road. Mainz we go against on the road. It's more or less it. Hoffenheim, right? We take Hoffenheim, which are actually not in the plus zone. But anyway, that's some kind of justification. We have that same sorting order, you still see Bayern on top and Leipzig in second place, which they are, in fact. Leverkusen are third best, and Dortmund only fourth best. Frankfurt here, Gladbach pretty low, even behind Düsseldorf and so on, and behind Wolfsburg, for example, which no one would suspect. But Frankfurt are really good, and we see Augsburg in last place. Union ahead, but already with quite some margin, but there you wouldn't put them. But you wouldn't say Hertha, Hoffenheim, well, who belongs here? Paderborn just played well, a couple of games, although that may change. I mean, they didn't play so well recently, but they still got that bonus from those very good games at the start when they didn't win the points and so on. So you can slightly argue about this one, but at least it's what my computer makes of those stats and when they inputs it. But it's not ridiculous, right? Freiburg, I mean, 7 places, but they didn't play so badly. But Köln sacked their coach, although they played on the same level like Gladbach, which sounds sometimes silly, right? Some of those things, but I'm sure I entered the correct data. Here we got this sorting once again, who played better than expected. Frankfurt are the number one, Düsseldorf second best, Leverkusen is a big surprise, like Holstein Kiel or Sandhausen also. Köln even more, Union very good, but although those points are still not many, but that's not the question here. It's how much did I expect and how many should they. And Dortmund, Bayern, Gladbach, you would be pretty surprised also to find Leipzig down here. But all of them are within a decent range of 3.5 or 3 points, as we saw in the Bundesliga too. So this is pretty regular. I mean, it would always happen like that. No one could do better predictions than me, unless you show me. But he will have anyway deviations here, which you then would still have to argue about which one is better. Now we find the bets here. Schalke draw no bet. I showed that already. Home ranking more or less, but Schalke did play well. Werder did not play so well. Düsseldorf, it's a better bet on figures. You do not like it. Frankfurt, home ranking partly, but also did they play very well. Union, we still like. We go against Gladbach, which makes a lot of sense. And Union do have the confidence. Hertha draw no bet. Okay, that's also one home ranking, also partly because they are better. I do not like this so much anymore after I saw the graphs already. Hoffenheim minus 0.75 sounds just silly. It's still indicated, but I dislike this mine so much with the coach sacking when they play well and just for bad luck. I mean, I hate that. And especially if they pick up the coach that Köln sacked a week ago. So why would you? I mean, who would listen to this guy now? And he doesn't really know what he's saying at the moment. I mean, he's shaken a bit. That's what I would say. But why would I can't see any sense in that. Sorry. Now we got the goal lines. We got Werder. We got an over. Düsseldorf under. Leipzig and under, and Augsburg over. I'm quite happy if this is split up, although this over is not really indicated on Augsburg Hertha. Goal performance is tipping the scale, as I say here. No margin, but somehow, well, it doesn't sound like an over so much, but figures are figures. But anyway, you can skip that one easily. Here we got them all in that table format, and maybe you like this one better. Take them down here and go, or skip the ones you dislike. Or make up your mind yourself and win a villa in Monte Carlo, right? With a swimming pool, of course. I have been there, right? With a pool in the garden and so on. In Saint-Tropez, that was. Dortmund, Paderborn. You see that here, Dortmund get the results they deserve, although that's worse than expected. That's clearly better than average. It's not quite there where they would like to be. Paderborn played a lot better, although recently you can see that here. It's not really confirming, although they had the weaker opponents, which you can see here in the blue one, which means weaker. Well, all of them had been weak opponents. They won a game here or there, or won a point, or that's what they did. But it's not at all what they deserve. But anyway, there's no indication. We are happy about that. With the goals, we can say that would be somehow an under, which is not indicated, I would say. Yeah, it is close to. I mean, you can think about the under if you like it. I mean, I wouldn't But not for the, because I say there are many goals. Market says that 4-goal line. But it's old and new are not quite at one, because just for the many goals. But I would say Paderborn obviously played more stable, or more defensively, because trying to win the results. Dortmund didn't get the results anymore, so you can easily argue in favor of the under, which is still a silly bet, it sounds like. I mean, many reasons. You can imagine lots of things happening here, especially goals. But that's why the line is 4. Werder, Schalke. We have Schalke here largely on the home away ranking, as we saw already. But we can see here Werder did not quite play on the expected level. Results are down there, but whenever the red one is below the blue one, you can say, okay, I accept the bad results, because they can happen. They did play better than expected, better than average, which is fine. Then you can say, okay, I take those good results, because somehow they deserve better than expected, better than average, so it can happen. Goal lines, we have an over here. That doesn't make a lot of sense here. That is an over, okay, that's a clear-cut over. I could throw into the scale once again, is that the line is 2.75, and if you look here, that may be 2.75 or even a bit below, but that's 3.25 or 3.7. That's 3.7, right? So if you take these two together, we would be above 3. So why is it 2.75? I mean, hard to argue like that, but still I can easily see more than 2.75 goals, which would be 3 already. Here we got the efforts, Leverkusen, Freiburg market, as I said, always tending to like Leverkusen, and does not like Freiburg so much. So it's just against the bet. We would like to have Leverkusen maybe, but no way to do so. It would even be slightly more to go with Freiburg, but we do neither one. Here we got the goal development. Some contradiction. No indication. No, simply none. But if you see a red one here low and here high, you know already that's hard to get these two together, right? In Düsseldorf, Bayern, we argued already, Düsseldorf are playing on average level. Bayern do not play their level. Results are still a bit behind. 2 points per game is still massive, still the best, or like Leipzig, close to. But anyway, it's still a clear indication, 2.25 goals. The under is indicated. You can see at least there's no contradiction at all. I mean, no visible contradiction in that. All you could argue about is say Düsseldorf take this as a bonus game. They say anything can happen. So they are not tackling that badly. They are, they just play friendly more or less, hoping for something. But actually, neither side would ever do that, especially if Bayern start to drop points. They would say, why shouldn't we pick up one, right? So, I mean, that's a clear one by figures, but it's very obvious that the graphs would confirm. I mean, as I said, Bayern defensively, but now we got Flick, but the efforts are actually not confirming those many goals. But a new coach would usually strengthen defensive, as you see here, which he had done already, right? This one, red one, is going down. It's just one game, but that's the one he was in charge. Anyway, I mean, we have a clear one under. This is Frankfurt, okay, more or less home ranking, but Frankfurt are excellent. Wolfsburg are just on average, which is fine, but Frankfurt are much better, very good, 1.61. This is clearly above average and expectancies and so on. We like them, home and away ranking playing its part. And goal average, there's no indication, contradiction even, but here's a low one, a low red one, a high red one, so we can't get these together. And especially if those are way miles apart, then you usually have, here you can say, all of a sudden many goals took over here, now going down again. Market's confused itself, but my computers as well. So I can't squeeze out the bet here. Here we like Union, okay, results are good, which means market, okay, we noticed Union are good, but they do not notice that Gladbach are bad, which at least my stats would say. So we get half a goal, not much reason for that if you just see the quality of their efforts, which is not even that far apart. I mean, they play below average, which sounds silly, but I've shown that already in the graph, that in the ranking, that they are a lot better than average, although the stats are not fully on their side, so to say. But sometimes it happens, or it happens more often, that a side that are getting good results have the stats against them because they take the lead and they hold on to that, although stats are on the opponent's side. But still, it would mean to me this is not a top side, right? A top side would always say, okay, we scored one goal, let's make the second, right? They are good, but they are tough one. But it always happens, those things, right? Goal average, we've got nothing. We even got contradiction, which you may already be able to explain if you see that, which means one is below, one is above. But I'm not going to think about this one any longer. I'm going to look at this one. Here actually we have no side indication. I mean, they are playing well, not even on the expected level. That would even be a bit better, but they improved. They get the results, everything's fine. They sack their coach while they are playing well. Just silly stuff. But I wouldn't, I mean, usually you would say then, okay, we go with Köln, but not even figures want that. But so what can we do, right? It's then I wouldn't take them anyway, even if figures would want it. I mean, I would argue about anything in case would make some sense. I mean, there's always a matter of figures, right? So you can't give me any price on Köln and say, you said you promised you're not going to take them. Yeah, give me 2.5 goals. Okay, what else? What choice do I have? But anyway, Leipzig, the over-under, we have a pretty clear under indication, and this is confirmed. And also coach sacking usually means he's trying to strengthen defensive, which is going well along. Here you got many goals, but not really. I mean, this is 8-0 and 4-2 in Hertha. That's 14 goals in 2 games, but not underlined or not approved by efforts. It's just a random occurrence. More or less, of course, they got Timo Werner. We all know that. Paulsen, myself, up front, scoring all the goals. Anyway, Augsburg, Hertha, we saw that already. It's just based on that home away. I mean, I wouldn't like it like this. That's just nothing. I mean, Augsburg are the worst, but they did improve. Hertha, okay, they lost to Leipzig, which can happen. Which means if these two are going along, it means effort was neutral. It was not a bad effort, but in general they are not that good. So why would you support this side? But yeah, home ranking we got on our side. I would actually dislike it if I see this and just ignore the bet. You can, it's your choice. This would not confirm the bet, right? Because Hertha are no good. Home ranking you can reconsider if you like this. Here we got an over. Okay, that's the same stuff. It just looks silly. Why is this an over? Well, I would still argue a bit here once again. If you got 2.75 goals and this line is above 3, no matter where the others are, but the goals are high anyway. And this one is a 3, why would 2.75? Of course, you could argue, well, they are both below league average. That's why this average should still be lower. But we got the goals in turn, right? I mean, they are still oversight somehow. So this you may consider it coincidental, but you may also say, if an over is indicated and the goals are there, why should I hesitate, right? I mean, we got still 3, or over 3 and 3, and then we got all the goals coming, and we got an over indicated. Yeah, okay, where's the error? It's not really indicated. That's why it's not really interesting, because it's just neutral. But as I said, there are the other factors that more or less speak in favor of the over. Okay, I have to leave in a second, and we are through with this one. We got Hoffenheim. We talked about this one already. They are not great. Well, actually, Mainz would even be the better side, minus 0.75. It's just on the home ranking, but that coach sacking. So, but I would instantly drop this one, actually. So, if you would prefer that, because this just looks silly, right? Not minus 0.75 if we find the better side here. But coach is gone. This I dislike massively. And all those wins, I mean, after a while, you can say, well, why should I, what's so bad about Hoffenheim, right? Win, 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 win. Okay, you're not going to bet them. No, not for sure. Okay, we take them. Yeah, whatever it is. What is it? Bite the nail? No. No. There's some, what is the saying? I don't know. Yeah, well, I can't find it now. Not bite the dust. Anyway, over, under, no idea. Under, over. This is just curious. It would actually be pretty close to an over. If you like it, no. Well, we got that new coach stuff in. Okay, anyway, I'm through with this video now, and thanks a lot for watching, and leave your comments and share it, like it. Yeah, you can ask questions as well, and so on.